Good evening, my loves. Let me go live on Instagram real quick, and we're going to get into this conversation on what to do when you experience contrast. All right, we are live on Instagram. We're talking tonight. I wanted to just pop on briefly before Jason gets home from work about what to do when you experience contrast. And lately, I've just been using my own life experience as well as things I hear going on for my clients or people I'm talking to throughout the day as inspiration. And this came up big time for me today, and it's also been coming up with just quite a few of I found the women I'm talking to this past week. And I thought, okay, this is coming up because clearly there is a message here that I am meant to, one, continue to learn for myself, and two, share with you. So as you're coming in, if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, go ahead and pop a question. Onyekachi, so good to see you. I also hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I love seeing you join. That's great. So I want to talk about first, what is contrast? Because especially if you're not like a big Abraham Hicks follower, that terminology may not be familiar to you. All that it is when you are on your way to your next level and it's like you're chugging along, and then suddenly you feel like you get thrown off. And that's contrast. That is what contrast is. You've been feeling good. You feel like you're in like that really great receptive manifesting mode. Everything's going well. And then sometimes something happens and other times it doesn't. Like today for me, for example, I woke up and it was like I could tell I was a little off. And then as I went throughout the morning, I just started to feel like worse and worse. And there was literally nothing that was going on. This is the other thing, too. Like sometimes your body's just addicted to the cortisol. And that's it, and the stress hormones. So it happens to all of us. It used to happen to me so much more. And I feel like I have learned over the years how to handle it where it's not really my norm anymore, but it still happens. And I've had so many of the women who I coach and work with. And even just yesterday, I was on a call with a young woman who'd like really decided to go for it. And she decided to join one of my coaching programs. And she said immediately she went into like fear and scarcity. And that's contrast, right? It's the opposite of the state where you are the most powerful creator, which is when you're in that receptive, calm flow. Y'all, I don't know what my dog is eating behind me because she already had her dinner. So if you're hearing a lot of clanking in the background, it's just this dog likes to eat a lot, and she's probably hoping there's still magical food appearing for her. So anyway, so that's what it is. So I think I made a list of 4 things that really helped me because I managed to mostly get out of it today when it happened, but it took probably 6-7 hours. And, I'm working on like shortening the amount of time it takes. And so, if you follow these 4 steps, maybe it'll happen faster for you. Maybe maybe it takes a little longer. It all kind of depends on where you're starting from. But the first thing to do when you experience contrast is know that it usually comes because you're on your way to your next leap. So it doesn't feel like a good thing, but it's actually a good thing because it's a sign that you've decided to step up to the next level. If you were just chugging along, like staying at the same level, the same place, you're not doing anything to like jostle your vibration. You're not doing anything to disrupt the flow that you were in before. So when you decide that you're going to go from here to here, whether that's financially, relationally, health wise, whatever it is, you got to think about it. Everything's vibration, right? So you're here, you're deciding to go here. So there's a readjustment that has to happen in that period. And you can experience a bit of a wobble, which feels like contrast, which feels like I thought I was going to go here because I was going to feel really good, but actually I feel worse. What's going on? Like, am I doing it wrong? Should I just quit and throw in the towel? Like, let me know if you guys can relate to that in the comments, because This is where so often we say, oh my gosh, like I'm quitting, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm not continuing to move forward. And that's actually the worst thing you can do. So what happens, and this is like I mentioned at the beginning of this live, like the term contrast, you'll hear a lot if you're an Abraham Hicks listener and follower, which I am. So one of the things that they teach, which makes a lot of sense to me, is that we are here on this planet to kind of clarify what we want. But the only way to find out what we want is to experience also what we don't want. And so when you find yourself in that place of contrast, all that's doing is that's further clarifying what you don't want, so that you can then experience, or you can at least have a sense of, okay, I don't want this. So on the opposite side, I have better clarification of what I do want. And Abraham Hicks talks about it helps you launch these rockets of desire that are getting you closer to the manifestation of what you actually want. So it's knowing that, okay, I'm doing this because I'm getting closer to what I actually want. And I'm clear, and it's happening because I'm in the process of clarifying what I don't want. So don't panic. Don't go into freak out mode about like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong. It's like, oh, great. I'm getting closer to my next level of my manifestation. I'm just looking at, okay, OJ, thank you. I'll call you OJ next time. That's perfect. You're saying contrast or opposition is good for me because it helps me grow and go to different levels. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that. When everything is easy, I don't grow. That's exactly it. It's kind of like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. It's got to go through that experience of like pushing out of the cocoon in order to come out as the butterfly. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. So, but we can get so caught up in our heads about, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And God or the universe are punishing me and I'm doing it all wrong and my life is ruined. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. So the more we can just recognize it as, okay, this is a sign I'm going to my next level, the better. So that's number one. Number two is get more general. So when you don't feel good, that is not the time to really visualize and focus on whatever that thing is that you're creating. So for example, I've shared on some of these lives recently, like one of the things that I am currently manifesting is a new car for my husband, a Tesla, because he's still, he's driving his car he's had since college, and he's always like put me first financially and has just been so supportive in my journey. And this is something I really want to do for him as a thank you for him for how tremendously supportive he's been for me. So oftentimes in my morning visualization, I'm visualizing this thing and I'm getting really specific and I'm feeling good about it. However, when I feel contrast, which for me often shows up as I'm moving out of my heart, like I've moved out of my heart into my head, and I'm starting to logic and reason it. And I'm starting to get really like into the details about how in the world is this going to happen. That's when that contrast happens, usually is when you get too into the how of things. I know not to push it. So I don't think at all about the Tesla when that's happening. Or like if the thought comes up, I push it aside. I'm not, because you're creating momentum. We're always creating momentum. So when you feel good about something, you create positive momentum and draw that thing you want closer to you. When you feel bad and you think about the thing you want, you actually create more momentum around the energy changes to, I don't have this thing, and you create more momentum around that and you actually push it farther away. So you want to get more general about it. So I instead focus on, like today I focused on what would feel good right now. Going for a walk. What would feel good right now? Hanging out with my little one. What would feel good right now? Running some errands. And like, I kind of stepped back from thinking about anything that's in the future that I'm wanting to create, because I knew I was only going to add more resistance to it. So it is way better to just step back. And I know that goes against everything we're taught, especially I know a lot of my network and my community is in sales, and it's like, hustle and push and just force your way through it. I'm telling you, if you don't feel good and you try to just push through it, it's not going to be very fruitful. Take a nap. Like today I took a 10-minute nap and I woke up and I felt better. When you meditate or when you go to sleep, you stop the momentum of those negative thoughts so that when you come back out of it, you're kind of reset. So you're going to be a way more powerful creator with whatever you're looking to create. A lot of my people are wanting to create more money, more sales, but it's whatever, it's relationships, it's health. You're going to be way more powerful if you're coming from that place of, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, like heart brain coherence, where you feel so good in here that you feel like you already have it. You don't even really care if it comes or if it happens, because you just feel so good. And that's that attractive point in place where when you do, you're in that state, and then you start getting more specific about what you want, then you draw it back in towards you. But when you're not feeling good, get general. Don't get so specific about things, and just take a step back. Okay. I'm just going to check comments really quick. Oh, Michelle. Oh, it's so good to see you. All right. Well, I love it. Well, we attracted each other then. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, if you guys have questions as you're coming in, I see Tom over here on Instagram. It's so good to have you, my friend. If you guys have questions on contrast, or like what happens when you're going for something and you're feeling good about it, and then all of a sudden your energy gets thrown off and you suddenly feel so far away from it. Like I said at the beginning of this, that's what happened for me today. And I'm on this, like, we're all on this journey, right? We're all figuring it out. And I'm so much farther along than I was even a few months ago, but it still happens. And so that's why I wanted to share this, because I kind of took this process today to get back in that beautiful receptive state. And I want to share this with you. So if you find yourself like going off the rails or going into contrast, that you have some steps you can take to get back in that place of feeling good, because everything you want, the money, the relationship, the health, the sales, you want it because you think it's going to make you feel better. That's all it is. So the trick is to feel better before it's happened on the outside. It's the whole thing. It is the whole thing, because then you actually end up, when you maintain that feeling good, no matter what's happening in the outer world. Like, there is stuff right now that's happening in my outer world that I'm not thrilled about. My dog is like, she's not doing well. And I'm not even going to like go into it because it doesn't really matter. But all I'm saying is there's stuff that you have to learn to feel good regardless of what's happening on the outside. This is the whole key. This is the whole key. And then you start to draw in those things that you actually want and desire. But it's not from a place of lack or like, I need this to feel better. It's no, I already feel so good and so whole and so complete that these things just naturally come into me. So going back to the step number one, know that when you experience contrast, get excited, because it means you're going to another level. That's what it means. It means you're going from here to here. And there's like, you may be in a little bit of that wobble. There's always that realignment when you go to the next step, and that's okay. So that's your indication that I'm growing, I'm expanding. Thank you so much for the hearts. I so appreciate it. Number two, get more general. So whatever the thing is that you're going for at this next level, if you're not feeling good in the moment, step back. Don't think about it so much. Actually, don't think about it at all. Just stop thinking about it or worrying about it. It's going to be there when it's there, but you're only going to create further separation from it and you if you try to push and force your way through it. Number three, express appreciation about where you are. And I know that sounds weird, but again, going back to step number one, when you recognize that this means that you're actually on your way to your next level, if you can just take, like, maybe there's a couple days where you feel the contrast, right? And maybe it's not that long, maybe it's longer, who cares? But take that time when you're in the contrast and look at what you can appreciate about it, because it's setting you up for your next bounce. And that was what I remembered this morning when I was like not feeling great about things. And I was like, oh, okay, this is setting me up for my next bounce. So this must mean it's a decent sized bounce, because I'm not feeling that great right now. So what can I appreciate about this moment? I appreciate my son. I appreciate my new clothing. I appreciate my shower. Like, just whatever you can say you appreciate it. It doesn't feel forced, but it just feels easy. That's it, right? Look for the things that are easy to appreciate in that moment. And just as much as you can, start to feel that appreciation, feel that resistance kind of fade away. When you get again, when you get into the contrast, it usually means you've gotten out of your heart, which is where you're your most powerful creator, and you're into your head. And when we're in our head and we're too much like, that's when you're worried about the how of how what you want to create is going to come in. And that's when you actually push it away. Your job is not to worry about the how. It is not your business. It is not your job. Your job is to get clear on what you want, have a clear intention, and then start to feel what it's like to have that thing before it happens in your life. The how will come, the how will drop in, and it will drop in the form of ideas, inspirations, nudges, intuition. And your only job is to follow those and be unattached to the outcome. And I think I know what happened for me today is I started getting too into my business goal for this month and I started worrying about, oh, it's so big and I'm close to this date when this thing's supposed to happen and it hasn't happened yet. And I got way too into it and I was like, stop it. It threw me off. And so I just stopped. I was like, I'm dropping that. I don't care. I actually don't care about the how. And I'm stopping focusing on the business goal until I feel better. And that's the fourth step, is just focus on feeling good. Focus on feeling good and whole. That's the only thing that actually really matters at the end of the day when you're looking to create that quantum leap, is feeling good. So I actually rewrote my goal card for right now. And it was like, I stopped focusing on the business goal. I was like, I don't care. I'm just like, I don't care right now, because focusing too much on that is throwing me into contrast. And I know that's not the state where I create it. So my only goal right now is to feel good and to create what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls heart-brain coherence. So that feeling of just total alignment, total gratitude, feeling immense gratitude for a future before it's even come. That's all I care about right now. That is literally it. Everything else is a byproduct. And so if you can shift your goal to just feel good, like what if it was just to feel good? Everything you want would start to drop in. It's how it works. But you got to get out of here and into here. And that happens by just getting more general and stop paying so much attention to the details about the thing that you want that hasn't come in yet. So I hope and trust that serves you. Mallory's saying, hey, Mallory, how are you? The why throws me off. I have to stop questioning why. Yeah. And, I'm curious. I know you're joining the masterclass on Tuesday, so maybe you can tell me more about that. The why, why. I'm assuming you mean why you're not feeling good. I'm going to answer that, assuming that's what you mean. And if it's not, put something different in the comments. But that's also important, right? Like, the more I had a woman in the 10K club this week talk about like wrestling with why stuff wasn't working for her. And I was like, why do you have to wrestle with it? Like, why don't you just drop it and go over there and not really worry about why that's happening so much? And it'll start to dissipate and fade. And so when you get fixated on like, why is this happening? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's helpful just because the brain loves to close the loop, but you get to your point, Mallory, you get thrown off by it, right? Because whatever you focus on is going to expand. So if you're focusing on why am I not feeling good? Why am I not feeling good? Well, you're focusing on not feeling good. So that's going to expand for you. So sometimes it's like, I'm not feeling good and I don't really care why, but instead, how can I know I want to feel good. So what would make me feel good right now in this moment? And not like a Band-Aid. I'm not talking like addiction, like I'm going to go drink or I'm going to go like binge eat or whatever. No, I'm saying like, what would actually from an aligned place feel good to you? What would make you feel good? Would it be to take a walk? Would it be to take a nap? Would it be to call a friend? Would it be to make a gratitude list? Like, that's what I'm talking about. That powerful feeling good, the aligned feeling good, not the Band-Aid addiction cover feeling good. So I hope that helps with that contrast. So that's it, guys. So 4 steps when you experience the contrast. Number 1, know that it often comes because you're going to your next level. So all is well. All is well. Number 2, get more general. Stop focusing so much on that thing you're trying to create. In fact, don't focus on it at all. Step back. What can you just appreciate in this moment that maybe has nothing to do with the thing you're looking to create? Stop thinking about it. Number 3, express appreciation, because you know that you're being set up for your next bounce. So again, you're getting clearer on what you don't want to help define what you do want at your next level. That's how the creation process works. So it's all as well. Again, you're just getting clarity. So start to express appreciation for that. I appreciate that I know what a powerful creator I am. I appreciate that I'm really pretty in tune with my feelings. I appreciate that in this moment, I'm clothed, I'm fed, right? Whatever the thing is that you can express appreciation for and feel good about it in your body, and you're not like trying to like push or force it. That's what I'm talking about there. Hi, Liz. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. I miss you, girl. And step number 4 is focus on feeling good. Focus on feeling good and whole. And if your goal needs to be like mine right now, which is just to feel good and experience consistent brain heart coherence, then that is a super worthwhile goal. That is actually the most important thing that you could focus on. Mallory is saying a friend listing a property with another realtor, knowing you're a realtor, even if you've sold them a property previously, then they list with someone else. Like why? But yes, also, why do I feel like this? Yeah. And so Mallory, I'm so glad you brought that up. So what I would say, and I think we'll speak to this a little bit in the masterclass on Tuesdays. I'm so glad you'll be there. Is one of the things that I teach, which makes a big difference, is shifting from the competitive plane to the creative plane. The competitive plane to the creative plane. So the competitive plane is the way of doing business of competition, of scarcity, of lack. And that's unfortunately how so much of our business world runs. It's how I was trained in business, and it's how I used to run my sales, my business, my life. And that's a very disempowered place to come from. So what I want to help you do, and what I want to invite you to do, is shift into what's called the creative plane. And the creative plane is when you're running your business, and for example, your real estate agency, and you realize there's more business out there than I have time to handle in this entire lifetime. There are more clients out there than I have, than I will ever be able to help or service. And also to know that everything is always working for you. So when you shift into that mindset and you run your whole life by that mindset of everything is always happening for me, then you get to ask the question, if you want to know why, you could say, if this were happening for me, why would that be? And you get to kind of answer that. And so I'll do that too. Like I'll run myself through that exercise. One of my mentors used to put me through an exercise where you would say, I'm thrilled this is happening because, I'm thrilled this is happening because, I'm thrilled this is happening because. And the thing can be a shit show. Like it can, I was like, I'm on LinkedIn right now. I don't care. It could be a shit show. And you still run yourself through that exercise because you find there's always something that's happening for you. So I want to invite you to reframe your mindset that everything is always happening for you. And what would it mean if it was happening for you? And just like force yourself to write out a list. Not force yourself, invite yourself to write out a list of what it would mean if it was happening for you. And you'll start to actually feel good about it. Like, oh, it's helping me realize I need to expand my referral sources. It's helping me, this person was actually no longer really aligned with me. Like if I'm being honest, I didn't really want to do business with them, but I was doing it because I thought, I was in scarcity mode and I was afraid of not having any money, blah, 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 whatever it is. It's always happening for you, always without exception. Okay. So I hope that helps. All right, my loves, that's it. I'm going to go, I don't know. I think I'm going to go take a bubble bath or something, or just chill. So wishing you a beautiful night. DM me if you have questions on this. DM me if you want to register for Tuesday's masterclass. I'd love to have you join your first 6 figures, whether you're going for 6 figures this year, 7, I don't care. If you want to find how to make money in a more easy, effortless, aligned, enjoyable, feminine way, come join me. I'm going to share with you exactly how to do it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. All right, loves, I'm so glad we got to spend time together, and I am wishing you a beautiful night. All right, bye for now.